Okay, guys, Dave from Pegasus. First and foremost, Happy New Year. I hope 2025 is a fantastic year for everybody watching. Um, Hopefully for us all, from a betting perspective as well. Hopefully we can make some decent money this year. Okay, so what we're going to cover in this video, I'll go over December's P&L, a bit of an overview of 2024 as a whole. I'm going to give an update on the ratings as much as I can, uh, where I am, what my plans are for this year for that service, and yeah, just touch upon on YouTube as a whole as well, because there's definitely going to be some change. I'll force some changes there, um, but I'll get into that in a minute anyway. So, right, let's touch on December. So, didn't have any ratings selections for December. From the additional picks perspective, really crap month to be honest. Just shy of 22 points loss. So not a great month at all. No winners whatsoever. A few placed horses. A couple maybe say what, we were unlucky there, not to get a better result, but it is what it is. That's where we ended December in. Overall, for the additional picks, this service only started in August. What was that shown? Let's take these out. That was yesterday. So up until the 29th of December, from I think the 6th of August, yeah, 6th of August, up until the 29th of December, ended in a 10.3 points loss. So, look, not great to end the year on a loss there after 5 months, but it's not massive. If you're going on the minimum recommended bank, you'd be about a 10% loss. If it was 150 points bank, then you're less than that. So it's not great, but it's not a disaster either. This service was initially brought in just as a just to keep things ticking along really. The ratings were sparse, and also it's a while between drinks with the ratings as well. So this service was sort of brought in as an intermediate, hopefully to show a bit of profit. I wasn't expecting loads. I'll be expecting it to be double figures though, at least 10% ROI, if not a little bit more. So to finish on a loss after 5 months is disappointing to say the least. About 5% ROI, minus 5% ROI there. So not great. So we've got a bit of work to do. Um, did start the new year, so did start yesterday. Had one selection for the service, put out just before midday. Managed to get best odds guaranteed at 16 to 1. So yeah, look, great start to the year. It actually puts the service in a profit overall, but at 4.4% ROI, you'd probably get more sitting in the bank. I know I'm getting more than that in one of my accounts, so for all the effort, etc., it's not really worth it at the minute. So hoping to turn that around in 2025. But the ratings, I'll give a quick update on that. So this is, Simi go through this at the back end of November for long-term followers. Basically, there's been some changes which have forced me to pause the rating selections as things stand at the minute, and that's been the case since the end of November. I have been doing some stuff in the background, so still running the ratings as I would, but doing some further analysis in the background in and around classes of race, number of runners, potential price points, etc. So what's happening with that? Well, look, the markets themselves have had an influence on this. I'm not the only, I guess, YouTuber, if I can consider myself that anymore, but um, who's actually talking about this. I've been discussing it for a few months now. Anyone who follows the markets and watches the prices, etc., will have noticed this as well. There's some massively erratic movements in the market, some prices that just don't make sense, to be honest. The way the books sort of coming in and drifting out, etc. With some of the prices, and excuse me, ultimately it's having an effect on how I do things, on my system, how I price races up, etc. Um, to what degree? I've sort of gone into a little bit of it at the end of November. So, just from horses shortening in where I was before, sort of 15th of June, 60% of the horses that I was advising were shortening in the market. That dropped down significantly to 40%. Uh, that hasn't really changed. Um, Albeit I am sort of, as I said, doing some deciphering in the background, and mixing some things around. So there is one promising thing at the minute. It's at very early days, should I say, um, and it's in and around. It's a restriction on the class of race, and also where I was doing a minimum of 5 runners. This sort of fit in between 8 and 12 runners. So it's an uptick in the amount of runners that's racing, and look, it would have shown around about a 16-point profit in December if I just stuck to that particular system. I don't know long term whether that's going to be whether that's going to keep on that track. I need 6 months worth of data is the truth. I was sort of thinking maybe I could get away with 3. I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm not someone I haven't done it in the past. I'm not going to do it now where, I'll make a particular change or tweak to a system I'm using and start betting those selections straight away. You need data behind it. So look, the early signs are positive. Whether that continues, I don't know. I will update everybody at the end of each month on how that's looking. I may start putting the ratings out without selections. I don't know. I don't know whether that's responsible or not, because there will be people betting on them regardless. But look, I'll see how that goes anyway. But as things stand, they're still on hold. Potential. I may start advising bets on the ratings again in possibly April, May time. So that's where we are with that. 2024 as a whole, look, I'm still massively happy with the performance. I withdrew most of the profit for this service at the back end of October, which was in and around this sort of figure. So for me personally, my betting bank is quite healthy off the back of 2024. I just feel really frustrated that for sort of a good 5 months there, 5.5 months, I hadn't really made any traction at all. And for people following, you, the reality is you would have probably made a couple of points profit, if at all. On if that's only if you'd strictly followed how I do the system as well, which I know a lot of people haven't. So it's a toss up really, but I'm not happy with the back end of the year. Not happy at all. But as I say, from a personal perspective, I can't not be happy with the level of profit that I got. So look, some figures to go over, I guess. So what was the average advised price? So that came in at just 10.14. So that's just over 9 to 1. Was the average advised price for the rating selections. The What am I doing here? So this is me. So with that strike rate, should I say, a 13.11, I need to be coming in at just over 13 to 2. If I need to prove that, okay, 7.62, which is just over 13 to 2. I need to have to come out even. That's not taking into account Betfair commission. But just to come out even, I need somewhere around those odds, just over 13 to 2. So what have I actually been getting in terms of winners? Because that's the most important one as well. So actual Betfair SP average is 10.6. So that's just over 9.5 to 1. Again, not taking into account commission of 5% on that, and that's quite important because that fluctuates massively depending on the odds, etc. With how much that totals up to. So Here's another interesting thing or an important thing. One of those prices, which really accounts for quite a lot of the profit overall for the year, is a winner back in at the start of May, Royal Dress. I mentioned this quite a few times. I advised it at 20 to 1. It drifted out to nearly 50 to 1, and that was for a 2 point win. So that accounted for before commission nearly 95 points in profit. If we take that out, if we take that price out and just class it as a bit of an anomaly, if you like, actually the average then goes down to 8.9, to just a little over 8 to 1, or a little under, tiny bit under 8 to 1 there, 8.99. It's still above uh, just over 13 to 2, not massively, um, but it is above. So that's suggesting that even with the way things went towards the back end of the year, even taking that big winner out there, that big price winner out, we would still make a decent profit overall. It's not massive, but it is decent. We'll just put that back in there. Um, yeah, look, it's a healthy ROI. It's everything was good for the ratings. I probably stopped them at the right time. I think if I carried on going into towards the end of the jump season, etc. I think the way the markets are, if I hadn't made any adjustments, I haven't stopped, I would have completely ate into that and I would have lost people money. I'm being honest, that's what I truly believe. So I think the right thing to do was stop when I did. Um, Currently reassessing, like I say, and I'll keep everybody updated, but I really don't see the ratings coming back, not for another few months at least. Okay, so where does that leave me as a whole? Well, December was a particularly frustrating month for me, not only personally, but from a betting perspective, from a YouTube perspective, from everything. So my head was up my arse for a lot of the month, and I only really had the last sort of week and a half where I've been off work to chill out and sort of regather my thoughts. So I actually made a boo boo with, I say a boo boo, I think it's probably a blessing in disguise to be honest. But I was putting a hell of a lot of pressure on myself with the ratings having stopped. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself with the additional picks, and YouTube in general was getting quite cumbersome, and I was sort of resenting doing it. It takes up a lot of time. There's a lot of responsibility that goes with it, and I know some people will be sitting thinking, well, all you're doing is putting a video up, but it's not quite that. There's a lot more to it than that. And if you actually give a shit about people who follow you, then YouTube can be quite quite hard, and I do give a shit about people. I care when what I'm putting people in a place of thinking and going and betting on horses that I'm putting up, and these horses are running, absolute fucking donkeys, and people are losing money hand over fist. That actually bothers me. I'm not massively concerned about losing money myself. It is what it is. I've learned to deal with that over the years. Um, I've I've got a decent amount of profit this year. I have done for certainly for the last few years. I'm not really concerned about that, but I am bothered about the people who follow my channel, people who follow me, and because I know that people aren't. There's a lot of people who aren't in the same position as I am, so they can't afford to lose money, and they're putting their faith in me, and that carries a lot of pressure, and it's something perhaps that I've sort of learned that I'm not massively good at coping with. And I ran a service years and years ago. It wasn't the same. It's hard to explain. Okay, it was an email based service for a start, so that there wasn't this element of coming on and recording a video and doing all that. But even that aside, it's a different level now. It's a different environment. There's a lot more to it, I think, than there was back in the day as well. And yeah, when you've got potentially nearly 600 people watching you every day, there is a lot of pressure on that as well. You know, there's just a lot that goes with it, is what I'm trying to say. And I think I've sort of learned that, you know, I certainly could have coped with that over the last couple of months a lot better. And with personal stuff and work-life balance as well being quite difficult over the last couple of months, I've just found it a real struggle. So on it was Saturday the 21st. I fucked this race up as well. I put two horses out in one race, and yeah, I think there was an element potentially of I would have ideally left the favourite out. I think in hindsight, and I would have gone for Regal Blue, which would have lost anyway. But yeah, I was sort of torn between the two and decided to put the two out, but I wasn't really focusing on the maths. Someone actually pointed it out. I can't remember if it's on Patreon or I think it's on the YouTube. Um, a follower actually pointed it out that, you know what, the maths was completely wrong, and my way of thinking was and my justification was massively out. And it didn't take me long to realise actually what the hell was I thinking on this day, and that just completely sort of added to the frustration and um, everything that I've been feeling over the month, where I just overlooked a basic. It's something that you just can't overlook if you're doing this seriously, and I put that advice out. They both ran like shit anyway, both lost, and it was at that point where I just thought I can't actually do this anymore, and I logged on, I just went onto YouTube and I thought, right, I'm just culling this here. I'm cutting it off here. All the anti-post bets had already gone out. I thought that's me for 2024. I'm not going to continue this in 2025 because, yeah, I'm just not thinking right. And I actually went on and deleted my YouTube channel. It was only about 24 hours later when I'd calmed down and I thought to myself, what the fuck did you just do there? Excuse my language, but yeah, that's what I thought. I thought, what did you just do? So for one mistake, you just in a hissy fit, just deleted your YouTube channel and sort of deleted all that work over the last 8 months. So I frantically tried emailing YouTube, etc., Google, to try and get that account reinstated, but it it appears that I think it's lost, it's gone. So all that work has gone, the subscriber base has gone, everything. I was disappointed. I spent probably another 24 hours being absolutely disappointed and kicking myself. And then actually, I thought it could be a blessing in disguise. This, so this just it doesn't eliminate the pressure I'm going to feel by putting selections out, but actually, it's sort of rewired me to think of a different approach, certainly for YouTube, uh, for 2025. So what have I done? I've set up a sort of mirror YouTube channel, if you like. It's just got this number one added to the end of the handle there, and I'm gonna post videos, but not to the degree where I'm posting a video every time I put a selection out. The selections are primarily going to be on the Patreon page, so will be emailed out to followers, etc. I will use a YouTube platform as a way of potentially putting videos up for the Patreon community, but not publishing them publicly on YouTube. I will do various videos on YouTube, um, but the main sort of centre of the service and my focus is going to be around the Patreon page. It's easier to manage for me. Um, the community is more engaged here as well, and yeah, I just feel that that's a less pressurized environment for me. And to be honest, guys, it can get quite toxic on YouTube. There's a good community on here, but there's also there's people who are quite toxic, and I don't really like it. I feel myself almost compelled to get drawn into that and voice my opinion, and then there's a big part of me thinks just don't do it. Just carry on and do your own thing. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not going to put any pressure on myself. If people want to pick up and follow, the YouTube channel again, great. There's not going to be as much content going on there. I will release bits and bobs here and there. I'm actually doing a review of another tipster service, a little bit like what I did with Sandro, a bit of an expose, but P&L sort of following, and just general opinions on good and bad sort of elements of the service. Whether that's a little bit sort of contradictory, or whether people think, you know what, your service is doing a bit shit at the minute anyway, so what gives you the right to go and sort of either criticise or review someone else's service. I don't really care. I've been doing it since November now, so I'm going to carry that on. But it is going to be detailed, so I'll either do a review at the end of January, or I will carry on until the end of April maybe, and do a full 6 month review. But that should be good. There's plenty of data I've got in the background at the minute. I think that'll be interesting, and I think it will once and for all leave no doubt as to whether this service is worth following or not, or whether the person behind it is in fact genuine, or whether he's disingenuous. I've got my own opinions. They haven't changed as of yet, but they very well could do over the next month or 3 months or whatever. So that'll be something that will be getting posted. There will be bits and bobs. I will do various maybe selection videos on YouTube, but it won't be to anywhere near the level that I was doing before. Everything, the majority is going to be centered and focused around the Patreon community. So it doesn't really bother me wherever this goes. As I say, people are free to follow again or not. I'm not really arsed with it. So yeah, what else am I doing in 2025? The additional pick selections will be reduced to a degree as well. I'm going to focus um, more on bigger prices, I think, and just really restrict the amount of bets I put out, and just have the really the most solid each way bets that I can get. There will be various win bets go on there if I think something can't lose, but um, on the whole, there'll be a lot less short priced horses and more bigger priced horses for 2025 on there. Again, I'm not going to put that much pressure on myself. So again, there could be days and days between bets. I don't care. I'm just going to really sort of pull it back and yeah, not feel obligated to put stuff out because people are looking for bets or whatever. I don't even care if there's no bets on a Saturday anymore. So yeah, there'll be notable changes for people who follow. But on the flip side of that, I will be doing other stuff. I'll be looking a bit more into the dosage trend analysis and doing bits and bobs like that. Because I think that's quite interesting. It's something I'm interested in, completely different angle. So people on the Patreon page will be getting sort of snippets of that and other stuff over the next few months, certainly in the jump season anyway. So that's my plans for 2025. As I say, I am a little bit disappointed that I sort of, spat my dummy out and canned the old channel, because a lot of work went into that. There's a lot of people who took the time to comment and um, like videos, and yeah, that's where I really feel bad, because people have took the time to not only to support the channel, but to comment and everything else. And yeah, I can only apologise really, but that's what it is. It was more culminating it just of where I was sort of in a mental capacity at that point. The frustrating month and just everything sort of culminated. I made a bad decision in my eyes. I sort of jumped the gun. I probably should have took a few deep breaths and yeah, just went back to it a few days later, and it wouldn't have happened, but it has. So as I say, there's another channel being made. It's not to try and get people to follow, get a subscriber base, or do all that sort of stuff. Um, I think that's probably the wrong way to go. But I will just leave it and see what it does going forward. But listen, a massive thank you to everybody who follows the channel through good and bad. I think we've gone through you know we've gone through the last sort of 6 months for long term followers. We've gone through quite a bit. Some really good positive highlights. Some frustrating times, some losing periods. The odd decent winner here and there. It's been a bit of a journey. a lot of things are going to change, hopefully for the better. 2025 going to push the limits out a little bit more without pushing the bet count up really. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this year. I really do think that the right approach is to less is more, and that's what I'm going to push into 2025. So look, let's see where it takes us. I will keep you updated every step of the way with regards to the ratings, and yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully making some money this year, guys. So thanks again for all the support. Really hope 2025's a massive year for you and your families, etc. And yeah, let's see how it goes. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.